Good morning and welcome to Community Church. I'm Andrew Galuska, the Director of Music and Fine Arts here, and welcome to our 8th year of poetry and organ during Advent. I started this actually about 20 years ago at a church I was serving in Detroit, Michigan, and it was done through a bit of selfishness. I needed a way to prepare myself, my spirit, my inner being for the challenge of Christmas that was coming. And so I developed poetry to feed our thirst for words, beautiful pictures in our mind. And then we added the interpolations of the poetry on the organ to feed your spirit, to feed your imagination and creativity. And so I'm excited that it has lasted this long, thanks to you, and thanks to those of you who are tuning in on our live stream. I'm going to ask that you silence your phones and that you also refrain from clapping until the end. This week, to kick us off, we have our own poet for Community Church and also Indian River County, Sean Sexton. Please welcome him to our podium.
It's so lovely to see you here, and it's so lovely to be here. Let's see, should I touch this? Can you hear me well? Everything's good. Okay. I see people here who didn't know if they could come or not, and here they are. I really appreciate that. I'm just going to start right off. As desire finds words, August 23rd. This is going to be sort of a summer transitioning into autumn. The Muse visited me this summer, and I didn't at all expect her, but I was just going to do clay all summer, and somehow or other all this happened. As desire finds words, August 23rd. How the darkness has fully grown, 6:30 a.m., and it's 76 degrees. Only now does a cloud emerge from the leftover night. I, who had nothing to write about a little more than a month ago, have found everything in the late summer morning. Its revelation and diminishing, light hastens in to soon hasten away like water in tide, and there were but one grand idea governing this hierarchical world. I am alone once more, and this soon there's a blissfulness in my little vacation from companionship, gladly answering to no one save myself. I can tell I'm a pleasure to do without, as both son and wife, are they made of the same stuff? Rain hell with ideas and schemes in my absence. I can hardly blame them as I grow older and more intractable, can you imagine, even to myself. Now frog voices sound again, seeming the same time as yesterday. Was there just a sprinkling of rain or some instance before dawn passed through, they acknowledged, like town criers? And was I just speaking of something, perhaps myself? I wonder what it was. This is called Unrecognizable. This moment in our calendar, in our holy calendar, is filled with darkness and light. And I'm not one to let go of darkness easily, I'm afraid to say. It's just me, it's not one of my better things. Unrecognizable. And this happened a year ago. A friend of my sister attended the reading, sat in the back of the hall, coming forth only after everyone had gone. Her name offered with her hand, barely registered. She'd been away, stood before me, hidden by flesh and time, as if a curtain between us had been drawn. My sister, I had to tell her, is gone. She hadn't known, and tears began to flow from this unbidden magi of those who come to one's life. Filled with nostalgia and grief I was not ready to receive, she summoned my own. As I said her name again to myself, minus the extra label of wedlock that it might help me remember who she was and repeat later to someone we might know in common as cure for my amnesia. She'll be staying here a month, she said, away from her home in Anchorage, another name of distant syllables and vowels. I didn't tell her she is also lost to me from sight and mind. I didn't say the next steps forth were only toward our own disappearance. October morning comes to elaborate skies of lavender blue, uncooked summer melon peeking through. The elephant ears have all risen this season to hold the chime by its tongue, and so the view impeded from beneath. So many ways this happens in worldly devise, vine and bush, branch and leaf, always at the edge, pressing in. This is the time little voices sound the landscape, calves, flute-like in every quarter, with maternal riposte in bassoon or didgeridoo. A dog faintly barks, then other faunal insult. A forgotten air compressor on the stoop suddenly wakens, begins filling its tank with however much leaked overnight. More mechanical wildlife, truck after truck, beating its way to the mine on the distant thoroughfare, all taking place within a scurrilous wind. My goodness. And so a moment later, I step out the door this morning and the air is like a warm person waiting to embrace. That's what that is, when you're hot. That's just really wonderful. That's warmth, all for you. This is Florida. Gnats attract to the switched on light over my desk. They are legion, fall into my coffee, swarm upon my open journal pages like disparate spellings from a strange alphabet aloft. Why were they absent yesterday and here in force today? I turn out the light and soon they disappear, so the choice lies between darkness and realization, convenience and blindness. Isn't that always the case? Now frogs are creaking everywhere. Something wakened them. Perhaps dawn's apparition, sudden to this promising sky. Silence returns for the rest of the hours. What did they say? No longer needs telling. Sometimes the cows, when gathered to the pens and calves parted out to be worked, cry so loudly nothing can be heard. Creatures otherwise quiet, that the sound of their breathing carries through the windows in the air at night when they camp close by. Yet hysteria is mammalian. Once begun, they do not think to stop. Their noise only ceasing incrementally, calf by calf, until each is worked and turned loose. When the last one comes through, quiet ensues just before we open the gate and let them all go. This is called Bound. Begins with the epigraph. My imagination can picture no fairer happiness than to continue living for art. Clara Schumann. The thin fingernail of moon is just out of bed, observed on my run to town as the planet of the morning, now high above its diminishing companion, keeps loftier circumstance than only a few days ago. It seems almost trite to speak of such things. How many times from the ancients to now have we borne our wonder about the lights of heaven and yet claim to be their sole witness? Living for art, as Clara Schumann spoke, are her words shining above on this printed page, not also a kind of celestial light to behold this moment? And further still, at an unearthly height, one luminary clock against the sky, the profane work of the day will soon begin. And to hear, she was her father's protege, accomplished and performing at the piano by age 11, and felt deep happiness about her art at life's end. Says everything we should know to care about being in this world, as each moment to come reveals something a little more of the divine. This is called Flung. I should at least acknowledge September's ending days in this soft, soothing rain. I waken to from my Saturday afternoon nap. These moments, we are kings of the world, or at least our lives. How broad that expanse Friday afternoon to the wee hours of Monday. I'm delving into my taxes to certainly count among those for whom they invented the extension. Why would they do such a thing, the fools? I hope auditor never reads this poem, or he'll show me why. There is only everything I'd rather do than this. I will not speak of my onerous record-keeping, save to say I do it after a fashion year to year, buried in receipts, ledgering life. This afternoon, the outside air is practically a recording device of effect. The sky in ongoing unlading of water, its touch and release into miraculous, numinous vicinities. Neil deGrasse Tyson spoke recently from his understanding of how the stars generate ingredients of existence in celestial furnaces of the cosmos with violent ongoing breathing and inhalation and explosion of the elements. As kingfishers catch fire, dragonflies draw flame. As tumbled over rim and roundy wells, stones ring. Each tucked string tells, each hung bell's bow strung finds tongue to fling out broad its name. He says the miracle isn't we're in the universe, which of course we are, but it is in us. Crying, what I do is me, for that I came. It just seems like a miracle to be here and have this all happening. We're so lucky. Not yet the rise, but soon. The clouds appear like giant annulated shells. I only look up to see now, after a poem I've been reading. The poet wrote about frogs in a pond. Lastly, the meadow and moon above, a lambent noctilucent tapestry, postulating that save for thefts of opportunity and keeping one's eyes out of poems at certain moments, one might see 1,000 full moons in a lifetime. And how many rises? The sun ain't never caught me in bed, swore a stoic, lively old cowhand once in an interview. And saying so, he meant not a day of his life. An orange tinge of light now touches beneath a large lemon ice inclusion upon lips of a soft blue cloud, an upper and a lower, and sudden as a kiss, and like a kiss, dissolves. Below, like narrative panels of a Renaissance altarpiece, cattle mill in the green, out of scale with the enormities of heaven. 5 trees across the way I called Pleiades, until one more fell to earth, stand like fuzzy-tipped tom-tom sticks. They could be in motion for the writhing irregularities of their trunks, yet stay frozen where they have stood all my days. Some portion of the 1,000th moon I may yet gather in. Further proof to lay claim of ever being alive, should my luck remain. before Dog Days, August 3rd. Light rises from its source even as the orb has yet to cross into this sky, but the latter soon to happen. I can only write at the pace it comes, my pen lifting it up over the trees. Yet cool air, the skin of a newly brided day lays soft upon mine. There's deep summer peace abroad, as if this might be its midpoint. Nothing astir, no passing storm, no cumulonimbi with flashing breastworks in the distance. None, all the way into dark. My son shot his dog yesterday afternoon. The violence of that lingers into waking. From our journey to bed last night, it mixed into chopping the romaine, cutting and grating cheese, and quartering what was left of a chicken for dinner. Some we'd fed the dog at our feet only a day ago. It leaves me bereft. As frost, I am too empty-spirited to count. This loneliness includes me unawares. I imagine the deed, my son, still young, yet tempered by his many years ago at school, working at the meats lab floor. So we've come to believe he could kill anything and wantonly commission him so. He is my dog, it's my duty, he said. I offered my help, but like a wild animal, preferring his intimacies in private, he refused. Later, he paid dearly for decorum, chopping roots of an ancient live oak in his yard, chosen for the final resting place, ground that did not give in easily. Nor did he, his first 4-year marriage, for, like my wife's, who writes such things into fate? And how does one find oneself at work one summer afternoon, 14 years later, from such dissolution, burying a dog received in a makeshift settlement, just sent by hand from this realm, God perhaps away on vacation, and he, the only one present to bring such a thing to pass. I will close with another, but that's actually the title, Another. Again, I could foolishly tell how it began, a gilded moment of clearing just before the hands of dawn withdrew from a chiffonier, a throw to unfold, shake out and spread upon the chilly land. And overhead, beyond lovemaking and a night's sleep, as if just in reach of a naughty child, there in the soft gray bistre and pink, fingerprints on the walls of a brightly sealed room where with all earthly things arrived the unbeckoned day.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah.